The most common statement I hear from business owners is that they need more leads. And my first question to them is, do you really? Okay, do you understand how to grow your business? Yeah, there's a smart way to grow your business and there's a hard way to grow your business. Most business owners think the easiest thing to do is to increase the number of leads to grow your business. But today we're going to go through the 8 business growth criteria that you should be managing in your business to grow your business the smart way and not the hard way. So let me give you some examples of what I'm talking about. Look, if you want more leads, what you're really saying is you need more business. The first question I have for you is, right, what's your current conversion rate from lead to customer? Now, depending on what business and what industry you're in, you might have to measure 2 different types of conversion rates. So lead to prospect conversion rate. So how to get people to be a prospect, and also prospect to customer conversion rate. Or you might just go straight from lead to customer conversion rate. So it's always one of those 2. Okay, now if your conversion rate is low, in other words, let's say it's just 25%, well, what you're really saying is that out of every 10 leads you get, you're only going to convert 25% of them, or 2.5 of those leads, and you're going to burn the other 75%. So wouldn't it make sense to find ways to boost your conversion rate first with the same number of leads, and therefore get more business from the existing number of leads before you spend precious time and money to generate more leads when your conversion rate's so low? Look, what if you could get your conversion rate to 50% or 60% or 70% or even 75%? Okay, so if you got to 50%, you're literally going to have twice as much business from the same number of leads. And if you can get your conversion rate to 75%, then you're going to get 3 times as much business out of the same number of leads. Now, once you've got your conversion rate above 50%, you can then look at spending money on generating more leads. Okay, so there is a smart way to grow your business and a hard way to grow your business. Let me give you another example. Look at your pricing, okay, and where are you're in your position to the market with your pricing. So if you're selling your products or services, let's just say you're selling a widget for $100, pounds, euros, whatever it is in your country. Well, if you're making 20% net profit off that, if you were to increase your pricing to 110 or 120, so 110 would be 50% more net profit, 120 would be 100% more net profit, which would free up a lot more cash for the things you're selling and investing back in your business without generating any more leads. So in the video today that's following my statement here, we're going to go through and teach you the compounding business growth formula, and we're going to use a very small business as an example for this one here. Just in the first year, we're going to run you through the 8 different business growth criteria that you need to understand in order to make smart decisions about how to grow your business over the next year so that you can grow, automate, and thrive more. In further videos after the one today, you will also see explanations of how you can not only grow the business in 1 year, but what happens when you apply the same compounding business growth formula over a 3-year period. And we've got further videos explaining that for bigger businesses, so businesses that are doing $250,000 turnover and more, and then later on businesses that are turning over $1 million in turnover and more, and again showing you how you compound that formula over a 3-year period for those size businesses. So enjoy the learnings, stop the video whenever you need to, do the math, use a calculator so you understand what we're saying in the video, and find out how you can grow your business the smart way and not the hard way. Have a fantastic and profitable day. Why would you choose to make it anything else? Well, hello and welcome to this little presentation on the business 8th wonder of the world, which is compounding interest. Look, we all know that Einstein referred to the 8th wonder of the world being compounding interest. Well, we'll show you how the compounding interest principle today fits into a business growth formula that we call our LibAbun compounding business growth formula. Now, if you can see here on the screen, there is 8 blue areas here. So number of leads times lead to prospect conversion rate. We've got prospect to customer conversion rate. We've got average value sales spent per customer. We've got number of transactions per customer. we've got gross margins, net margins, and monetary conversion. So these are the 8 growth criteria that you can use to grow your business. Now, inside here, we have literally thousands of business growth strategies. We've got over 1,600 to be precise. You'll find many of those being marketed and mentioned to you on our social media channels. So please refer to those for those there to keep up with these. You also see in here a number of green areas, a number of prospects, number of customers, revenues, gross profit, net profit, and cash. Now, these are in green because they are a result. We cannot directly change these green areas. In order to change the green areas, we have to develop business strategies in each of the blue areas. So the aim here, as you see on year 1, we've got, this is a very small business we started with. Look, you see the actual revenues at the start of the year, £62,600. So it could be someone who's self-employed, very small business. Now, what we're going to look to do is grow this business significantly by using the compounding business growth formula, where we're going to look to grow each of the 8 criteria just by 10%. So what we want to do is we look for, on average, about 3 strategies in each of these areas spread over the year. So there's 8 different criteria, 3 strategies in each criteria. So that is a total of 24 strategies we want to apply during the year in order to achieve these sort of numbers. So let me just show you how this works. So look, number of leads, 3,128. Now, that's about 60 leads a week. Now, if you looked at the number of leads you get through your social media campaigns, through any networking you do, that people on your website, phone-ins, a number of other things, you might find that it's somewhere around about 60 a week if you've ever bothered to add these up. This is for a small business, remember, by the way. Now, the conversion rate is 25%. Now, this is a lead to prospect conversion rate. So this is someone who knows about your business, has looked at it in some way, shape, or form, but they haven't yet been pre-qualified. Okay, so that's the conversion rate from lead to prospect. Now, prospect is someone who has actually spoken to your business. You've spoken to them in some way, shape, or form, whether it's via AI or on the phone or face-to-face or whatever, and you've actually made sure that they're in the market to buy from you, okay, and can afford to do so. So we have a prospect to customer conversion rate. So in this case here, because you've pre-qualified these people, you have a higher conversion rate of about 40%. Okay, so, and you see the numbers here, 3128 times 25% conversion rate equals 782 prospects. 782 prospects with a 40% conversion rate equals 313 customers. Now, this is for the whole year. We break this down to quarterly and also look at it monthly. We don't really go much smaller than that, depending on what business you're in and how fast they go through your pipeline. But that's another story. So we've got a number of customers here, 313. Average value sale per customer is £100. Now, look, some may spend 90, others might spend 120, but the average is £100 in this case here. Number of transactions per customer through the year. This is just a whole number of 2 at the moment. Some may buy once, some may buy 4 times, but the average here is 2. Okay, now 313 customers times £100 times an average number of transactions of 2 a year equals a total revenue for the year of £62,600. Okay, now we're going off, by the time you take out your cost of goods sold and a commission if you have to pay that out, but you probably just cost of goods sold, you've got a 65% gross margin in this example, okay? That gives you gross profits of £40,690. Okay, so, and then we've got net margins of 30%. So you've got to take out your cost for your business, internet, phone, all those sort of things. Okay, in order to rent, anything like that, take that out of the business. You're left with a 30% net margin, and that gives you net profits of $12,207. Now, if you've been in business, you'll also understand that profit isn't cash, which is why we have this ratio here of monetary conversion, which gives you the amount of cash. So you can even know, I've known hundreds of businesses that have made plenty of profit during the year, but they've had no cash. And why is that? And that is because the cash is tied up in what we call the cash conversion cycle, and that's a subject of a separate video. But basically, your cash conversion cycle is your days receivables and your stock and your days payables. Okay, so that's where your cash is all tied up in those 3 main things. And we look at to the monetary conversion in order to increase the amount of cash you have in your business. But in this case here, with a 40% monetary conversion of that profit there, you only ever have access to £4,883 in cash during the year, because the rest of it's tied up in your receivables, payables, and stock. Okay, so that's your numbers there for a relatively small business. Now, when we go for a 10% gain in each of these areas, and I won't go through the strategy, there's a whole webinar on this whole thing on how to do this, but we apply 3 lead generation strategies to boost the number of leads by 10%. That gives us that figure there. Three strategies to boost your conversion rate during the year, and that goes to 27.5%. That's a 10% increase from 25, an extra 2.5%. So it goes to 27.5. Now your number of prospects jump from 782 to 946, which isn't a 10% gain. This is how the compounding interest works. Okay, then you've got conversion rate goes from 40% up 10% to 44%. Okay, and then your number of customers have suddenly jumped from 313 to 416, which is a massive jump there. Your average value sale goes from £100 up 10% to £110. Your number of transactions per customer goes from 2 up 10% to 2.2. And yes, there's lots of strategies we can do to do this, and it is an average of 2.2. And your revenues have suddenly gone up from 62,600 to £100,672, which is way more than a 10% gain, as you know, and I'll show you those figures in a minute. Okay, so your gross margins. Now, look, in this case here, because it's cost of goods sold, and there are a few things you can do for this, but this is generally the hardest area to improve, okay, for most businesses. So we're not going up 10% on this. We're only going to go up a 2% increase on this overall, which is from 65 to 67. But still, your gross profits go from 40,690 to 67,450. Okay. So you've got your net margins. Yes, we can get a 10% gain on that from 30 to 33%. Suddenly your net profits have gone up from 12,207 to 22,258 within your first year. And your monetary conversion, yes, we work on that as well. It's got up. This area here, we normally do way, way bigger than this, but I'm going to stick to the 10% principle. Okay, so 40% to 44%. And your cash is improved from 4,883 to 9,793. So that's cash in the bank for the business, even though now you'd be paying yourself out of this part here, okay, if you're self-employed in this sort of level of business as well. Now, those numbers there, that is an increase in 1 year by working on these different 8 areas, and we do this through our mentoring and through our CRM system we apply for everyone. That is in year one. That is a 61% increase in revenues and a massive 82% increase in profit and a huge 200% increase in cash. Okay, so we just go back to show you that. There it is, the figures again. So here's your jump in your cash, here's your jump in your revenues, and here's your jump in your, here's your jump in your revenues, here's your jump in your profit, Okay, so if you're interested to find out more, if you're a small business and you want to find out how to grow these numbers and get on our program for this, by the way, we offer everyone a profit guarantee. So if we offer to work with you and we have you on our mentoring program, okay, this is for small, this specific example is for small businesses doing less than 150,000 turnover, then we're willing to speak to you. Have a look at our links and book a 15-minute call with us through LibAbun.com or through the link with this video on the social media channels. Have a fantastic and profitable day. Why would you choose to make it anything else?